Good afternoon. My name is Melanie, and this is Melanie versus the Zombies. And I'll tell you what that is all about. Approximately 2.5 months ago, I was diagnosed with triple positive breast cancer. It was aggressive, it was grade 3. Not stage 3, there's a difference. Grade 3, which meant that the cell division was very rapid, the most rapid possible. My particular tumor is made up of 3 different parts: estrogen positive, progesterone positive, which puts it in about the 80 percentile mark. But then this evil little guy came along, HERS2, which is a mutation on a gene that overproduces protein, which feeds this tumor. So that took this cancer from being in the 80 percentile to the 20 percentile. So, it's a rare little thing, but the wonderful thing is, because of its aggressive, the treatment that I'm receiving is very vulnerable to the treatment. In fact, I've had 2 chemo sessions so far, two infusions, if you will, and the tumor was originally just shy of 2 centimeters, and I cannot feel it at this time. That doesn't mean it's gone. That just means I can no longer see it or feel it, which after 2 cycles is just amazing. And according to the cycles, again, regarding HERS2, just a few years ago, HERS2 would have been a death sentence. HERS2 is a recurring cancer. It's a high rate of recurring, and at some point, I will have those statistics for you. But HERS2 recurs in the other breast. It can also recur in your stomach, in your gut, in your pancreas, in your liver, and in your bones. So the game for me from the rest of my life will be to keep HERS2 at bay. However, that's a wonderful thing, because again, it wasn't very long ago HERS2 was a death sentence, and just as recently as in the last 5 years, it's become something that I will manage chronically the rest of my life. Now, that doesn't mean I'll be ill for the rest of my life. That means for the rest of my life I'll be taking a pill so that HERS2 does not find a place to take hold again and set up camp. We don't want that. And as long as we can hold HERS2 at bay, all is well in my world. And I believe those of you who have had similar diagnoses just recently, you know that as well about yourself. And in fact, while we're talking about those of you who have also been diagnosed with similar things, I would love to hear from women and men as well who have been diagnosed with cancers, the various kinds, whether they're triple positive, triple negative, or all the other different varieties we have. I still have both of my breasts. Again, this was diagnosed July 18th, roughly. And I was told that because it is recurring because of HERS2, that I am qualified for a double mastectomy. So right now, even though it's a few months away still, I probably will do that. My treatment consists of 2 different cycles of chemo and infusion for targeted therapy, which means I will have 3 months, or every 3 weeks for 3 months, I will have my regular chemo infusions, and then the HERS2 medicine called Herceptin, and that's an infusion I get the same time that I'm getting my infusion every 3 weeks. And do that for 3 months. Then there's a break while I recover and get well, because during that break we'll go ahead and do the double mastectomy. Then after I've recovered and gotten well from the double mastectomy, I don't know where along that line yet reconstruction is going to happen. If reconstruction happens before I start my next chemo, or do I do chemo and then reconstruction? I'm not sure. But once chemo starts, it'll be another 3 months of the chemo for the estrogen and progesterone, as well as the infusion of Herceptin for the HERS2. And then after that's finished, I'll have 6 more months of Herceptin infusion. So we're looking at probably about 18 months. And it's a wild ride. Those of you who have been diagnosed with cancer, you know that you're going along, life's not bumpy at all, or maybe it already is bumpy, and you get this diagnosis, and it doesn't matter what else is going on in your life. Cancer becomes your life. I was just talking, my partner his name is Zeb, and he is my lifeblood, the light of my life, and has been such a trooper, because this cancer is not just what I'm going through, he's going through that as well. And I was telling him just yesterday, can't believe it's already October, and we were diagnosed July 18th, and it just seems like there's been nothing but cancer in our lives since then. A lot of good things. As you can see, my hair is already falling out. Now, I still have a lot of hair up here, but it was getting so thin and so patchy, it was just unsightly, and so I decided to shave. And I'm one of those that I'm not going to be covering up my head. I will when it's cold, and I will if I want to put on a wig and have fun with something that I normally wouldn't have. But that's what I'm choosing, is to look at opportunities for this cancer, that there's fun and light moments to just shed myself of myself and have uninhibited fun that I would not have had the opportunity had this diagnosis not come to us. And again, I say us because it's Zeb's as well as it is mine. Let's see. So my name is Melanie. The show is The Zombies, Melanie versus the Zombies. And that is because in this situation, there are two different situations or circumstances that I would consider to be a zombie. And no, it's not the cancer. Zombie number one is I live here in the state of Texas. In fact, I come to you from Denton, Texas, a beautiful two-university town, UNT, University of North Texas, Big Mean Green, go Big Green. It's known for their jazz program. Some people say it's second only to Juilliard. And then Texas Women's University comes to us as well. And it's a big, used to be a women's university, is now co-ed, and it's big for nursing, which is near and dear to my heart because I am also a nurse. So that's things we can talk about later as we get to know each other. So the first zombie, let me go back to living in the state of Texas. Medical marijuana, it's legal, it's provided, but it's a list of this short of things that qualify to be on the list for medical marijuana as a patient. Now, what that means is, as cancer, I can't use it unless I'm terminal. That is a horrible adjustment. I live here in North Texas, which means I can travel 30 miles up the road and be in Oklahoma. My friends that I know who live in Oklahoma, one 24-year-old who told me I could use this example, just recently got a medical marijuana card, and he got that because of sports injuries, for which he's not injured. He talked to a doctor on a screen, told him about this particular injury that he got in high school during sports. He did not have to show any images. He did not have to get any new images. And guess what? He got his medical marijuana card for a sports injury for this 24-year-old that in no way disables him from anything. And yet here I am with cancer, and I am not able to get a medical marijuana card. That's zombie number one. Zombie number two is I also am diagnosed with bipolar, and it came to me late in life, although some might argue with me. Started experiencing severe symptoms when I went through menopause, and I had to have a reality moment where I knew that something was going on that was out of the ordinary. The rages that I spoke of with my girlfriends were not the rages that they spoke of, and my partner was getting the brunt of those mood swings, and push came to shove one time during last year, and a crisis happened, and I sought treatment, and I will tell you that I was 4 days into treatment. I felt better than I had my entire life regarding mood swings or having to hold my tongue and not speak my mind in a way that would not do very many people good. So for the last year I've been on lithium, a very small dose. My psychiatrist actually says I had the mildest case of bipolar he's ever seen. So I have one of the most aggressive cancers and one of the mildest cases of bipolar. But what the bipolar does is this. There are protocols that you go through when you're going through cancer treatment. And you take them the day of, or the day before, the day before. And those protocols require for the drug of dexamethasone. So the day before, I would normally take 16 milligrams of dexamethasone. The day before, the day of, and the day after. And dexamethasone is incredibly important. It's a steroid that helps reduce inflammation. So in this case, it would be swelling from the chemo, as well as bone pain. Well, guess what? Because I am bipolar, because my brain is wired a certain way, I am not able to take steroids, especially dexamethasone, or I put myself at risk for something called a serotonin syndrome. I was going to say a serotonin crisis, but no, it's serotonin syndrome. And if I ended up with the symptoms, which I will tell you at a later date, it's a crisis situation. It's an emergency situation. So when they weigh the balance of bone pain, inflammation versus serotonin crisis, or serotonin syndrome, which will send me to the ER and possibly ICU, the medical teams with people who have bipolar said, nope, you can't have dexamethasone. There's never been anything done to see if there's any other alternative for us out there. Medical marijuana. Somebody said medical marijuana over there. Now I'm by myself. No one said that. Medical marijuana certainly would help with the bone pain as well as the inflammation. Then there's another drug, Lomotil. Lomotil is an anti-diarrheal. It's a controlled drug, but for patients who are having explosive diarrhea, which many of us do as a result of the chemo. Lomotil helps control that, and again, it's a controlled substance. Because of lithium and the interaction between Lomotil and lithium, I again would be putting myself at risk for a serotonin syndrome. So I'm not able to do that. So I knew going in, some of the protocols were not going to be available to me because, for whatever reason, The research hasn't been done, even though I know bipolar people are not necessarily in the minority. If you've ever been to Hollywood or New York City, you know that. And yet there's been nothing done to develop anything different for us. So we must tolerate bone pain that can be so severe as it being like seizures gripping around you, just causing spasms from the top of your neck all the way down to your tailbone. So there's that. That's another zombie. Along with not being able to take the protocols, I have since found out that there is a reaction just with the plain old chemo drugs anyway. And it's not a reaction that's going to be resulting in the serotonin syndrome. It's a reaction that just causes me to have tremors. And that's also very frustrating. I play the guitar. I'm a vocalist. I can hear and feel the tremors when I'm holding my pick or strumming or looking for those frets. The tremors are keeping me from getting a good connection. So all in all, and this is not complaints, these are observations where the system needs to be improved. Zombie number 1, medical marijuana laws in Texas are shit compared to Oklahoma, Arkansas, those surrounding us. Even Arkansas, who is so similar to Texas in its politics and religion as well. Even Arkansas, their website, you go to them, it's column after column after column of illnesses, and as well as just syndromes that you can be treated with medical marijuana, including this big blue button that said, click here if you would like to add your syndrome or your illness to the list. And they are willing to discuss that and to see about getting it legalized for the marijuana. The website of Texas, you wouldn't even know it existed. There's nothing user-friendly about it. Anyway, I'm going to quit bitching about that. So again, my name is Melanie. I am 2.5 months into triple positive. I'm going to be going on a journey. And I thought that possibly other people might be interested in that journey. I don't know what this is supposed to look like. I don't know what we're going to do. There's going to be times where I come to you and I'm just spouting off because, by golly, that's what bipolar people do, right? There'll be times when I take you with me and we go and we see friends or we bring friends to us. One of my favorite things to do is to get in the kitchen when I have energy now. I always love cooking for family and for friends, and people typically know that they can come and it's going to be fun around at Mel's kitchen. And so I hope that we get that opportunity as well. I'm getting ready to have my 3rd cycle, October the 14th, which the reason I was so thrilled is immediately, and I'm sure many of you who have been diagnosed do the same thing, I got out my calendar and said, where does this line up with my special days, the holidays, the birthdays, all of that. And so I'm so thrilled because in Denton, Halloween is a huge holiday, and as well as the music scene for Halloween. And the 14th comes so many days before Halloween that I will be thoroughly recovered and able to enjoy. So, guys, I don't know what else to say right now. I hope that brief little introduction was concise. Sorry about my tongue, it's nervousness. I'm going to be me. You're going to know when things are difficult. I don't know why I'm crying right now because things are great. You know, they're not great, but they're good. Just, I guess, easy crying right now. I'm going to, I'm not going to hide back hard days, but I'm also going to share with you joys. And if you feel so the need or want to, I'd love to hear your joys as well and your hardness as well. Those of you who are going through this, that you don't have the diagnosis yourself, but it's your family member or your loved one, we would love to hear from you as well, because here in Denton, we have a giant community that is a tribe, and it's thick, and it's family, it's chosen family. Many of them are biological family, several generations into the tribe. So you'll be meeting some of those people as well, because we all know what those support people are like. Not only because we need support, but the diagnosis is not just hard on us. And it's hard on our loved ones. It's hard on our dearest friends and our chosen family. So many of them don't know what to do with the fear and the sadness when they hear that from us. So again, in some ways, me personally, I won't speak for everybody, I feel an obligation to be really up. And that's not fair to anyone, or myself especially, but that's the way it is sometimes in this world. So that being said, I'm going to sign off. This is Melanie versus the Zombies, plural. There might be more added to that list. If you think more should be added to that list, let's discuss it. So right now, signing out. Bye-bye.